All right, quick video here to talk about what you see on the screen, which is the acrylic sign and how and what we're looking for when it comes to your orthographic sketch. So remember, for the acrylic sign, you can do something real simple as a rectangle, or you can do something a little more creative with your sign. So the only thing I want to really quickly remind to you is in the constraints that our size is that you can't be larger than 10 inches tall. It must, I'm going to bold that, must be 8 inches wide so that it fits within the base that we created. So when we go to make our sign here for our sketch on Tinkercad, remember you're going to go to Designs, you're going to click New, and we're going to create a new 3D design. And on here, what I would suggest you do, let me move myself over here. We're going to go here and we're going to make our thing say LED sign and then your last name. So I'll do Singer. And in the settings, let's make the settings as large as the max space that we have to work with. So the width I will make 8 inches and the length I will make 10 inches. I'll make that my default. And there we go. So I know that space that you see on the screen, that can't be any larger or it won't fit on your sign that you're creating. So if you're going to do something real simple, let's say you're going to take the max space that we have, you're going to make your sign and you're going to make it 8 for the width, tab 10, and we'll get it to fit in the work plane. And then the only other thing you're going to have to do is make sure that the thickness is 0.125, or as you see there, 1/8. So that's the basic sketch that you would have to do for us. Top view, front view, right view, and your isometric view. And try to show the dimensions when you do that. Your 8 by 10. Okay, zoom it out a little bit, I guess. Oh, that's weird. That's not letting me see it. Anyways, you do your dimensions for that. Now, if you want to do something a little more creative, you're going to have to show us that image as well. So I decided to think about making a tree. I want to make a really simple design of a pine tree that I could put on my sign. Maybe I want to make it look outdoorsy or talk about somewhere up north or something like that. If I wanted to pick a tree, this is what I would have to do. I have to make a cut file for it. So I just want to review how to do that. First, what I always encourage is let's look for a silhouette. So when you do a clip art look, find a picture that deals with silhouettes. So I'm going to pick a real simple design that's really easy to use and that I know that will turn out really well. So let's go ahead with this one that I see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and save image as. I have to make sure that it's a PNG or a JPEG, which it is. Again, I'm going to do this on the desktop so I know it will download. Sometimes it's hard with the Chromebooks. So there's the file name. I'm just going to call it tree so it's easier to find. It's in my downloads folder. Hit save. So now the next thing I have to do is I'm going to have to convert this to an SVG file. So remember on the Fab Lab website, we have these different files. So this was a PNG to SVG. So I'm going to click PNG to SVG. And using this site, I'm going to pick the file that we had in the downloads called tree. Download it here, click start. And then once it's downloading, once the process is completed, then I'm going to click download. And it should download right onto your computer. You can see that mine goes here on the bottom. Sometimes they go in the corners. You just have to look at how your computer is set up at the time. All right, now that I have that, I can go back to my Tinkercad and I'm going to go to import, choose file. I'm going to choose that SVG file that we created just now. It says tree.svg, so I know that's the right one. And I'm going to import it. Okay, takes a little bit for it to load. I'll move myself over here. There's a tree. Holy Lord, that is huge. So remember, if you click shift in the corner and you drag, it will proportionally drop it down. And then we can make sure that it fits in our space. Okay, so if you want to use as much space as possible, we know the tree is probably, you can't get much bigger than that. But what I do need to do is I need to make sure that the thickness is set at 0.125 for that 1/8. Now the other issue is you have this big 8-inch gap that you made for your sign. This little piece inside here is just going to fall through. So we have to make a little base for the bottom. So any design you do for this, you're going to need to make one of these. So let me show you how to work through this. So you're going to bring out a block, and we're going to make sure that our block is 8 inches in width. Okay. And then we'll tab it. And then as far as the height goes, I would use at least an inch, maybe even 1.5 inches for the height of your base piece that you're going to make. So now I'm just going to make sure it's in my workspace. And then what's the last thing I have to do? Change the height to 1/8, so 0.125. Now from here, we just got to make sure that the tree is centered. So instead of just guessing, I'm going to highlight everything and hit L. And we're going to click that center node. There we go. So we're all good to go. And then determine how high I want to make that tree. Now, the tree can't be any higher than this gap here. So if I do any adjustments here, I'm going to have to probably shrink it down. But I do want to bring it up a little bit. I do want just a little bit of the tree, and just a couple of these specks is actually probably fine. Sitting in the base, I think it will help the light come up a little more. You do what you think is best with your sign. The only thing is I can see that this is a little taller than what we have. So I'm going to click shift and grab the little center node and move it down a little bit. Okay. Now I do have to make some changes. I'm going to change this to 0.125 again. I'm going to highlight both and click L for align and make sure it's centered. And now I'm pleased with what I have here. So the last step then is to highlight it, group it, and then this is the design that we're going to be cutting out using the laser engraver. This will be the cut file that we're going to use. So we're going to export it as an SVG when we go to make the sign. And then you're going to do all your engraving with JPEGs or PNG files or whatever you find online. You're going to create probably on Canva. We'll do all that stuff separately and put it on here before we put it onto the laser engraver. But now for your sketch, remember that we need to show our dimensions. We can see that this is it's less than 10, 9 5/8. It's 8 inches wide. So I'll have to take a screenshot of my top view, my front view, my right view, and then the ISO, and then you're done. So if you got any questions on how to do these designs or you're struggling to get it all to look like this, rewatch the video. Ask a friend. If not, come see Mr. Harris or myself, your other friends in class that can help you. See you later.